What's going on, dudes and dudettes? I want to do a quick update on a lot of movies or TV series that I've caught up with since our last video on my YouTube. So, yes, when it came to another 2023 movie, I went back to go watch finally. That is Blue Beetle, which is a DC comic books film. Well, it's pretty much like towards the end of like that run of the Superman, Batman, Justice League movies, but yeah, sadly, this character did not get his time to shine with all the other actors, since pretty much while they made this movie, they were already thinking about their next different type of DC universe and different Superman, which they already have. They're going to get another Batman and instead of Ben Affleck, all that stuff. But overall, I did enjoy this movie. If this movie came out in like the late 90s, early 2000s, is like a throw together comic book film, I would have liked it even back then, so I still think it was enjoyable to watch. A little bit long in the runtime, could have used like probably 5-10 minutes or less, but definitely if you're a fan of George Lopez and anything he's done, I think he steals the show in this one, and he's definitely one of the funnier characters in this overall. And even like the main guy who plays the character Blue Beetle, I've never seen him before. I think he's from that show Cobra Kai, but overall it was an enjoyable film, so I would definitely recommend it if you're interested in watching it. I did see were two things that are like way old, like I think early 2000s and probably like early 2010s, but they were my first time watches for both. They were kind of influenced by my girlfriend. But yes, the first one that I did watch finally since early 2000s was The Princess Diaries with Anne Hathaway. I think it's Julie Andrews, who played Mary Poppins, but a lot older, obviously. And it was like those Disney movies from the early 2000s. And I think I kind of felt like I already saw it, just because when the Disney Channel would do like a behind-the-scenes thing leading up to a release of one of their movies, they kind of showed you everything. So there was a lot of stuff that kind of seemed familiar to me. But either way, it was an okay film. I mean, I probably won't watch it again. I think there's a number 2, so we might have to watch that soon. I guess if she twists my arm about it, we will. So I guess that will happen. And then that first Tim Burton, Alice in Wonderland, which I never got to see even around the time it came out. Never saw the sequel as well. So this one was okay. I thought it was definitely probably the beginning of using a lot of computer generated, like almost 100%, the whole entire thing, which I thought, if Tim Burton kind of put his, spin on it, used a little bit more of his magic, like how he did with his earlier films, like an Edward Scissorhands, even when you think about like a Nightmare Before Christmas, even though he only produced and helped create that story, he did not direct that movie. But if he put a little bit more of his touch on stuff, I think it would have been better with more realistic stuff than just the full digital. I mean, it was okay. Once again, another movie I'm not dying to see again. I will probably just see the sequel just to see how it is and how it did. I don't even know if Tim Burton directed the second one or not. But yeah, either way, I guess check it out if you are interested. And then the next one is going to be Somewhere in Queens, which I think was on Hulu, which is, I believe it's the actor's Ray Romano's first time directing a movie, and he also wrote it, starred in it, and it's pretty much like a regular Italian family there in Queens, New York. They own like a type of construction type of business, and he kind of just works with his dad and his family, and kind of feels like he doesn't really live up to the way he thinks his dad wants him to be, which is pretty interesting. But he gets this really big kick out of living life through his kid, who's a star basketball player and heading into his senior season as a high school basketball player. So he's kind of reliving that glory a bit. At times it's almost more of a drama than an actual comedy, which they kind of make you seem like it's going to be, especially because he's from Everybody Loves Raymond, obviously. But overall, I enjoyed it. I'd probably watch it again a couple years down the road. But if you're interested in a pretty good flick, it does get a little bit serious at times, but there are some good laughs in there, and about, especially when he's losing his son anyways to a new girlfriend that he has, his first girlfriend. So of course a lot of parents have to go through that of trusting your kid with another, person, especially in a relationship. So it's pretty funny and interesting overall if you're interested in a movie like that. And then the next movie had to be, actually, it was more of like a thing I saw on Google that popped up about Christopher Nolan wanting his first idea when he was developing the movie Inception, which is a great movie with Leonardo DiCaprio, was that it was going to be a horror movie. I know there was talks that he would be doing one, and then all of a sudden, like, other movies like Inception and Interstellar and the other Batman movies came out at that time. But I guess he did really want to do it, because when you think about it, there are a handful of scenes that are kind of like jump scare-ish, where there is a loud sound that's supposed to try to scare you, or looks like a nightmarish type of dream scenario and all that stuff. So I can kind of see where he was maybe going to go with that. It definitely isn't like full-time horror or anything gore, slasher, stuff like that, but it does have its moments in itself, which is pretty cool, which I've always kind of thought were pretty nice scenes in the end as well. So yeah, I thought that was a pretty cool thing I saw about one of my favorite directors and one of my favorite movies as well. And then another thing that I did see, a movie from, I think this was actually 2022. I missed out on that, watching it then, but it was called The Whale with Brendan Fraser. Obviously his Oscar-winning performance as this character, and yeah, it's a pretty big time drama. There are like maybe a couple of laughs here and there just because it's, kind of depicted in real life, so you kind of relate at times, but it is a pretty serious, heavy drama where this guy has a loss in his family and kind of deals with it when it comes to through eating and kind of just staying in his own apartment and kind of dealing with the depression like that. And yeah, it's pretty tough. And he also, tries to teach a class, but doesn't, like say around the time of 2020 when kids were going to school online, he does not turn on his camera so you to see him. So he does hide himself away from the world, even though he does think there is good in the world. And then he also has like an estranged daughter that he left while going to another relationship with a different person. And yeah, so of course she hates him and gives him a bunch of crap, even though he's trying to, get back in good terms with her. And pretty much goes through about a week in his life, which is pretty interesting as well. I won't give it away, but yes, it is one of the greater performances, especially from Brendan Fraser as well. So yes, definitely look for that if you're looking into like a real nice serious drama. A series I did recently finish, luckily it's only like 7, maybe 8 episodes, but it's on Peacock, and it's obviously derived from those movies Ted, with that talking foul-mouthed bear from Seth MacFarlane, who obviously did Family Guy. And I thought it was great because it's more of like a prequel, so it deals with high school stuff, and because of Mark Wahlberg's age, it deals with like the 90s as well. That's where they set it in, so it's pretty nostalgic, like going to blockbuster-ish type of thing, or talking about certain movies like Jurassic Park or something like that. So, and of course they get into their own shenanigans. It's not really like a full-on like storyline that you have to follow, but obviously it's pretty freaking hilarious, and especially when it's like a Christmas episode, because they go no holds bar, and that was probably one of the funnier ones, because everybody, whether religion, left or right, politics, or straight, gay, anything like that, it was all in that episode, and it was still pretty funny while they did it as well. So definitely recommend that one. But yeah, that whole series as a whole was really good in my opinion, so looking forward to seeing if they do a second season. Leading up to what I saw today on Tuesday as I'm recording this was Dune Part 2, but before that I rewatched Dune Part 1 with my girlfriend so we could both go together today to watch the second one. And even when I watched the first one, I think I was just in a mood and was kind of tired and stuff, so I thought it was more boring and all this stuff. But after rewatching it the other day, I did think it was a really good movie and really like epic in those type of epics, like a Cleopatra, something like that, Lawrence of Arabia. So it sets up this whole gigantic story, because obviously these stories come from a long line of books, and this director is one of the best directors out there. And after rewatching that first one, I really liked it again. But watching the second one tonight, it's like it's hard to compare like certain things because even at times a lot of people will say like Empire Strikes Back of Star Wars or even the Two Towers of Lord of the Rings are like where the director got their footing going, and I would say that in this sense. I'm not saying it's like those movies. I think it's almost better as a second parter because I think the second part of Dune is better than that first one in my opinion of the recent Dunes. But yeah, this one is like almost 3 hours and you kind of really don't feel it, especially once you know the story and the background, because it just keeps going and going. It doesn't really ever let up. There's definitely a lot of action and a lot of great spectacular things to look at, and it's definitely one of those more epic type of films like I mentioned, Gone with the Wind or even Wizard of Oz. In those, it'll be talked about in those type of rankings in my opinion within the next couple of years or so. But I would not be surprised too if it wins a bunch of Oscars as well in next year's. Even though it come out so early this year, I think it still has a lot of chances to win Oscars in 2025, which is pretty crazy overall. So yes, if you're interested in that series, I definitely recommend go check it out. So yes, thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.